In this video, we'll be going over a pretty major PlayStation 5 game gameplay review and Outriders, which has gotten its debut gameplay, a 101 trailers, and a ton of details. We got so much information about the game, so we'll be going over everything regarding that coming from People Can Fly and publisher Square Enix. But first up, I want to give you guys all the information on Outriders. There is a ton of info that Square Enix has rolled out about the game, and we got the official gameplay presentation. On top of that, we got a world and story trailer, we got a classes and power trailer, we got an RPG depth and customization trailer, and then we have even more gameplay that came from media outlets. There is a ton out about the game, and it's really nice to see that with the revelation of Outriders, this official reveal, they also rolled out a ton of information, so we're not going to be kept in the dark for all too long. So what is Outriders? Outriders is a third-person RPG shooter set in a world where sci-fi meets savagery. It's in development from People Can Fly, the talented development studio that's worked on Bulletstorm, Gears of War, Fortnite, and more. The game can be played solo or with up to 2 other players, so you got a 3-player co-op vibe here. Many will draw resemblances to a game like Remnant from the Ashes. I've actually seen that comparison get thrown around a little bit, but whichever way you want to play it, you'll be presented with a vast, brutal adventure filled with imaginative weapons, satisfying loot, and flexible character development. Also, a compelling story set in an original world, and that seems as good a place to start talking about the Outriders Odyssey. So what is the story of Outriders? Well, there's a lot of lore here. When Outriders begins, humanity is not in a good place. Earth has been ruined, and the survivors have taken to the stars in a huge sleeper ship to find a new home and a fresh start. The planet Enoch looks promising, but before the civilians can disembark, they need to make sure that it's all safe. In other words, they need the Outriders. These awe-inspiring operatives are the first on the ground, using their enviable training and combat skills to identify threats and clear the way for wider landing. For a little while, all seemed fine on Enoch, good, even the planet is beautiful, the local wildlife is reassuringly passive, and it seems like a paradise. That said, there are some odd readings that the Outriders want to investigate before an all-clear is given. Unfortunately, before they can, the order to land is given anyway, and that's when everything goes all to hell. The anomaly, a mysterious, unidentifiable energy storm, descends on the settlers. Some it kills, some it changes, some it renders almost all of their technology unusable. In the chaos, an Outrider, specifically your fully customizable Outrider, is injured by the anomaly. In an attempt to keep them alive, they're pushed into cryostasis and frozen in suspended animation. More than 30 years later, they awake to a very different world. The once beautiful fields of Enoch have now become blood-soaked trenches. The sky burns and hanging bodies line the devastated fields. Stripped on their technology and resources, mankind has turned to savagery to survive. But Enoch's not the only thing that's changed. The surviving Outrider has to, armed with a gun and mysterious new powers, they head out in a dark, savage world to discover what's happened to them and humanity as a whole. I really like the premise of the game. It's not something that's completely out of this realm. I mean, I feel like we've seen this premise before, but it's a cool premise to take, and I think there's a lot of potential in a story that Outriders is going for. After the prologue, the Outriders campaign will take you through multiple areas, each with a central hub that positively overflows with quests, secrets, side quests, and more. But before you start digging deep into this broken world, you'll have to choose a class. This is essentially a starting point for your newly empowered character and defines the basic skills you'll have to play with. So far, 3 classes have been revealed, the Pyromancer, the Trickster, and the Devastator. Obviously, the Pyromancer, the perfect choice for anyone who thinks they're hot stuff. The Pyromancer uses fires and flames to devastate crowds of enemies and control the battlefield. You've got the Trickster, a fast, maneuverable class that uses speed and time manipulation to cut down enemies. It's great for getting in behind foes quickly and delivering powerful precision attacks. And then you have the Devastator, a powerful class that makes a brute force feel elegant, from gravity manipulation to impenetrable armor. It's all about getting close to targets so you can deal maximum damage. On top of that, each class has strengths and weaknesses, and crucially, a different way of healing, all of which greatly define how you play the game. The Pyromancer, for example, heals whenever he or she puts down something on fire, while the Devastator and Trickster benefit from close-up kills. This is said to add a lot of variety in how you play the game, something which only increases as you defeat enemies and build up your character. So there's going to be a lot of variety in how you play the game that probably will lead the game to being very replayable as well, and I always like to see that in games, and Outriders seems to have that in spades. So a big element of Outriders is of course going to be the combat. We've got all these different classes. I'm counting replayability, but if the combat isn't good, it's not going to be a game you're going to enjoy to play, since combat in a game like this is going to be in the at the heart of the experience. Well, what is combat in Outriders like? Battles are said to be fast-paced and intense. Anyone with experience of third-person shooters should feel instantly comfortable with the basic controls. You have full freedom of movement around the battlefield, can take cover behind walls and objects, pop out to take shots with your gun, and so on. However, while the controls might feel familiar, the gameplay in Outriders feels entirely unique. Even in the early stages of the game that we played, enemies put up a fight, they'll crowd you, try to flank you, flush you out of cover with grenades. It's not enough to brute force your way through a situation. You'll have to constantly react and adapt to the flow of the fight. And then there are skills which turn everything on its head. Every character has access to multiple abilities, all of which are visually spectacular and extremely useful. These skills are every bit as important as the guns and form the central pillar of your battle strategy. For example, the Trickster class has the ability to warp behind an enemy. This one simple skill has many different applications. It's a great way to get in close for a brutal and oh so satisfying melee strike. If you're surrounded by enemies, you can also use it to escape and get behind them safely. The list goes on, and how you utilize it is really going to change the momentum of the battle. Combine that with other skills and other players, and it becomes even more flexible. For example, the Trickster can create a bubble that slows all enemies within it and their bullets, lining them up perfectly for the Pyromancer to blast them with a wall of searing flames. So as you can see, if you're playing the game cooperatively, a lot of communication, a lot of synergy with a lot of the different mechanics, that is going to come into play, and I think playing this game cooperatively is going to have an added layer to it. Much like Borderlands, I imagine that this is going to be a game that will be enjoyable if you play it solo, but if you do play it cooperatively, it's going to add another layer to the gameplay and probably be a even better game. That's just generally how these games usually go. I just hope Outriders strikes that balance where it is still enjoyable as a single-player title, because I always got that vibe from Borderlands. That describes the basic flow of play, but what's much harder to articulate is how good everything actually feels. It's all in the small details. Controls are precise and snappy. The weapons both look and sound powerful. Every single shot has a profound sense of impact. When you hit an enemy, you'll know it. In other words, everything feels precision tuned to create a compelling gameplay loop. You'd expect nothing less from the team at People Can Fly. And of course, People Can Fly made Bulletstorm, and if you play Bulletstorm, you know satisfying first-person shooters are kind of right up their alley. Bulletstorm, while it had its issues from, I wasn't a big fan of the narrative, nor was I a fan of the game being 6 hours long, but from a gameplay standpoint, strictly how it felt as a first-person shooter, that game was awesome, and it looks like we're gonna really see that shine through in Outriders. Also, the game touts its RPG credentials, but what you might not expect is that Outriders is as much an RPG as it is a shooter. You level up, you customize your skill set, you find loot to upgrade your weapons and armor, you talk to NPCs to learn more about the world and get quests. Everything you'd expect from the genre is here, and well done. The loot system seems particularly satisfying. As you kill enemies in open chests, you'll earn new weapons and gear that make your character stronger and more resilient. Not only does it make encounters consistently rewarding, we found equipment to be extremely meaningful. When we get a better gun, for example, we really notice the difference. Also, like all the best RPGs, there's a strong narrative focus to everything you do, whether you're progressing through the main quest or undertaking one of the many side activities, so that's going to be a major element of the game as well. The game hits you with interesting stories and rich characters. There's an example that they illustrate. Early in the playthrough, we uncovered a door to a store. Upon entering, we meet a slightly pushy but oddly likable merchant in Mr. Chang. Sadly, any transactions were cancelled when the unfortunate shopkeeper was gunned down on behalf of a rival trying to take control of supply in the area. Cue a short, fun little side quest that saw us teach that malcontent a lesson he won't remember because they ended up killing him, the rescue of a wonderfully spiky new ally, and even a new store in the area's central hub. So they're giving meaning to even the littlest things in the game, and I always enjoy that. They also detail character development. Another hallmark of RPGs is character growth, and this is a very big deal in Outriders. The game features a remarkably flexible system that lets you build up your character in dramatically different ways. Every class has multiple skills available, although you can only have them, a few of them equipped at a time. There are character mods, and these can be a literal game changer. When you level up, you'll earn class points which you can use to modify your character. These could be stat boosts to improve particular skills or buffs that make you more effective with firearms. But right from the start, you'll have a surprising amount of control over how your Outrider grows. So what does that mean? Do you prefer to use cover to advance up the battlefield? Do you want to be a hit and run slasher, or do you want to run and gun? With the hero tree, you can modify your stats in order to support the playstyle that you prefer. The result being that no two characters will ever feel the same, even if they're the same class. Two pyromancers, for example, could play very, very differently with different strengths and weaknesses that let them take on different roles on the battlefield. And with this, that really lends back to the point of being very replayable, and I think Outriders is going to have that in spades. So when you assess Outriders, so far what I've seen, I am very compelled by, and I've been saying it before, but People Can Fly, I have confidence that they can deliver a quality title. If Square Enix is going to publish it, they need to establish some new franchise. We've seen it with games like Left Alive and The Quiet Man, but new IPs for Square Enix have not been turning out so well, especially games coming out here in the West, and they're more so Western titles. Square Enix has really been kind of fumbling there. Obviously, they're always going to have their Japanese titles and they'll sell well, but they need to establish some new franchises, and Outriders can absolutely be that. It looks like a great title, and it will be out later this year on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and then, of course, on PC. So a lot of excitement surrounding this game. Seems like it's getting quite a bit of attention now, but that's going to conclude this video. Definitely let us know your thoughts on Outriders. I'll leave a link to the Square Enix post in the description box below so you can check out all of that. That's going to wrap up this one. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.